Hello and welcome to my review of the fifth studio album by pop superstar Katy Perry. This album is titled Witness and it came out on June 9th of this year, 2017. This album is very polarizing for many Katy Perry fans and for more in general, just critics alike. Most people don't really know what to think of this album. It's kind of, to some people, a little bit lackluster compared to her previous, pop hits that were just so undeniably catchy and so well crafted to just take over pop radio and give her all these number ones. She holds that record from Teenage Dream that beat out Michael Jackson, with all these number one singles from that album. And Prism did the same thing. It was still very well crafted pop music. But I also thought that there was some progression. She was getting into a more adult contemporary sort of ballads and more kind of emotional music that was starting to really grow and into something. And Witness is sort of, to some people's view, a step backwards or a step that it might be like a misstep. A lot of people are coming at her for her image change for this album. A lot of it is just about the fact that she got her hair cut. Now, personally, I don't have a problem with her cutting her hair. I think she looks fine. I think she looks great with the short blonde hair. It's not a big deal. People are equating it to when Miley Cyrus cut her hair and got all crazy and saying that, Katy Perry is going through Miley Cyrus's old crazy phase. I can understand where they're going because there is, in some of the singles, Bon Appetit, an example, she's gotten a little bit more rambunctious. She's embracing more hip hop stuff. But there's nothing quite so controversial about this Katy, except the fact that Katy has always been, an advocate for empowerment and an advocate for what she considers purposeful pop. Now, I will say that I like most of the critics do have a little bit of an issue with her branding the entire album as purposeful pop. I really don't necessarily see a lot of the songs on this album as falling into that category. When Katy announced this album back in February with the lead single Chained to the Rhythm, it was coming off of sort of as this theme. That was what the album was going to be about. Chained to the Rhythm, I was expecting a lot more songs to have a little bit more of a political, social kind of underbelly to them. And we only get a few songs on the record that kind of follow in that vein. A lot of the rest of it is a lot more sort of territory that she's kind of rehashed, relationship. There's some more promiscuous sort of stuff in there. And, that's fine. It's not exactly where I think the album was cohesively supposed to go. And I feel like the branding of this album kind of got lost. I feel like the marketing wasn't so good for this. I do like the album cover. It's very psychedelic pop art. It's very oddball, and I think that it does summarize this album pretty well because this album is kind of an album that does not want to be categorized. Genre-wise, it's definitely more electro-pop leaning, with a lot more house sounds than we're used to hearing from general Katy Perry cuts. I mean, you've got the Max Martin Shellback songs that, she always delivers on, although I think in this case, those are the weaker songs in this album in some cases, because they just don't grab you like some of her past hits do. Though I'll be honest, I appreciate the fact that some of these songs are a little darker and a little bit more, I would say, interestingly composed, because they're not so simplistic in nature, like songs like Teenage Dream were, or California Girls, or Roar. Those songs are kind of derivative when you listen to them a lot. You're like, okay, like there wasn't a whole lot going into these musically, compositionally. She does have a lot of stuff going on. She used a wide variety of producers for this album, and one of the most left field that surprised me the most was her collaboration with Purity Ring, who's an electronic, ambient dance group that has released some very kind of dark house pop songs that are really kind of not mainstream whatsoever. And the fact that she allowed them to produce 3 of the songs on this album had me really excited and interested to see how this album was going to go. Unfortunately, I feel like the songs that they worked on, especially one in particular, is actually the lowest part on this album. I'll get to the rest. I'm going to start with number 1 because I'm summarizing. One of the highlight songs on this album for me is Witness. The theme of this album is like social commentary. It's about like witnessing people, witnessing us back. During this tumultuous time we're in politically, let's not forget that, Katy Perry was a huge advocate for Hillary Clinton. When she lost the election, she turned all of her social media to like just this sort of black background. And, she kind of just took a step back, I'll just preface this by saying that I actually saw Katy Perry perform with Hillary Clinton in Philadelphia at the Mann Music Center just days before the election. And I saw Katy Perry with her Madam President cloak, and I saw how excited what we all were, and obviously she was. And so I can see how, like, a lot of the facts of, like, disappointment and kind of frustration with society and mainstream politics as a whole has sort of felt like this collapse. And there are songs on this album that do speak to that. Witness is one of them. Can I get a witness? Will you be my witness? I just need a witness to get me through all of this. A witness is sort of personified to be a partner or someone who sees you, who understands you, who will help get you through difficult times, but also who sees through all of the crap, like also is, honest, cares predominantly about seeing the truth inside all of us, inside others, objective truth. That's something this administration currently is very fighting hard against. It's left very open and vague on purpose because, she wants to kind of let people interpret their own meanings into what it means to be a witness for somebody. It's a very interesting sort of phrase, but I thought it was a clever sort of title for the album. I mean, the eye in her mouth, she's singing about how the voice was kind of how she reached out to other people, and she kind of sees people through her voice when she goes on tour and she, connects with all these people. It's because of the instrument of her voice that she's been able to witness all of this love and all of this uplifting coming togetherness of pop music. And so the idea of that is pretty strong on this song. And I kind of wish that this carried through the rest of the album better because I think it intros it pretty well. I mean, the production is a little all over the place on this song, and I've got to be completely honest, when I first listened to it, I was a bit put off by how abrasive the production got, how almost too techno it got. It got like very, very overdone, and I was like, well, I was a little put off by it because I'm used to Katy Perry's production being a certain way because on Prism and Teenage Dream, it was kind of a very certain sound. And yeah, this album it's very electro house sounding, and it's just completely different from anything she's ever done. But once you get used to it, it starts to feel a little bit more normal. I do love the ending with the whistle, and I also love the piano that sort of backs the structure of this song. The song has a little bit more organic roots than just the house techno sounds, and I appreciate it because of that. The next song, and this is sort of the big sort of grand opener because it has a little bit more of the drama that you would expect from a Katy Perry song, Hey, 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 is definitely a female empowerment song that, I mean, is pretty strong. It's definitely one I'm sort of lukewarm on. I don't hate it. I don't love it. It's kind of fun. It's definitely catchy. It's got a neat kind of production to it. I think that it does fall on some cliched stereotypes of like big, beautiful brain with a pretty face. Well, does the woman have to have a pretty face to still be taken seriously? There are some pitfalls with this kind of feminism where it's, the Marilyn Monroe in a monster truck. Well, what if you don't look like Marilyn Monroe, but you still are in a monster truck? I mean, what if you're Malala Yousafzai in a monster truck? We need to understand that feminism shouldn't be about like someone's appearance. And, Katy Perry, she's a starlet. She's, known for being very beautiful. I expect her to sort of want to play to these sort of classic Hollywood tropes of beauty, the Marilyn Monroe image, the Barbie image. But it does feel a little bit derivative when she's using that as like something she's trying to take seriously. Referencing Barbies and referencing this stuff. It's not necessarily something I can take that seriously as like actual female empowerment, because Katy Perry is very privileged in the looks department. And I don't know, I feel like there's a little bit of a disconnect between just like actual intersectional feminism and what this song is trying to portray. If you strip all that back and you don't analyze it too hard, because look, this is a Katy Perry song, this isn't a Bjork song, then it's just a fun, empowering, catchy song that you can dance to with your girls and feel like a badass bitch. Like that's also what it can just be. And that's fine. The next song, Roulette. Now, if you had to pick one Max Martin Shellback song that was like the single that would be like obvious to be on radio, it would be this song. Ironically, the album's been out for 6 months and we still don't have this as a single. I don't know if this song will ever be a single or if it will ever have a music video. I do feel like the promotion for this album is a little weird because of how like the singles aren't doing so well, and this could be like the music, but it also could be the way her record company is, Capitol Records, is promoting her now. I don't know, but Roulette is all of the ingredients of a big Katy Perry pop song with a little bit more Lady Gaga, like in the Fame era and Fame Monster era, sort of house sound in the background. I gotta be honest, it's not my favorite song on the album because I do feel like the melody doesn't, it builds and builds and builds and then it kind of falls flat. I hate the that part. Like, it doesn't go anywhere for me and it's underwhelming. I don't find the catchiness of the chorus to be there at all. And so it's all this sort of more just energetic buildup that just kind of falls flat. And so then that sort of backing house synthesizer starts to get really annoying and kind of derivative. However, what falls flat for me on Roulette actually kind of works for me on Swish Swish, which was one of the singles from this album featuring Nicki Minaj. A lot of people might think this song is kind of stupid and silly, and I can definitely agree with them that, it is silly, and I don't take this song very seriously. The lyricism on this song is kind of bizarre. But, Katy Perry's lyrics are always a little bit bizarre, let's not forget. You can definitely hear Katy Perry's possible songwriting influence on some of the strange, a tiger, don't lose no sleep, don't need opinion from a shellfish or a sheep. I was like, what the heck? What does this mean? Why are we talking about shellfish? I guess shellfish have a shell that they hide in, so I don't want opinions from people who hide themselves, and obviously I don't want opinions from sheep. I can see that, but it's so Katy Perry. I can just hear that in there. And it is a little strange upon first listen. But I do like that, again, the piano is sort of the focus for the beat and sound of this song, because it does start out with just a beautiful piano and her just sort of singing. And then we get into the very house groovy beat that is actually a sampling of a sampling from a song way back when. The song I Get Deep by Roland Clark, which was then sampled by Fatboy Slim in a song, and now she's resampling that. Obviously, we have the Nicki Minaj feature, which I actually think is pretty strong on this album. I really like that feature. I think it's one of the better features Nicki Minaj has been in recently. And it feels, I don't know, energetic. You just want to dance to this song. I love the music video, even though it's also so stupid. I just laugh at it. I don't take it very seriously. And I think that, the fact that Katy's not taking it that seriously makes it funny. I like that she turns herself into a meme in the music video. I like that she has all these cool actors and actresses playing all these coaches and players on this team. Some parts, the jokes are a little stupid, I'll be honest, but then, we have Nicki Minaj slaying it on the basketball court with her choreography, which we definitely needed because there wasn't any choreography to the rest of it except for, this sort of move, which she did on SNL and now became a thing for the song. And it's cute. I don't know. I find it really funny, and I don't necessarily take it that seriously to the point where I hate it because it's so pretentious. Obviously, this is also thought to be a response to Taylor Swift and the Bad Blood song because she could be talking about Taylor Swift. I don't really want to get into that because I hate that sort of manufactured drama. I honestly don't really think there's actually too much drama, at least on Katy Perry's side, in terms of this whole Taylor Swift Katy Perry thing. But anyway, leave that as it may. Another highlight song on this album for me, Deja Vu. A lot of people kind of thought this song was underwhelming and not very exciting, but I find this song really thrilling and fun to listen to. I love the deep, deep house sound of this record. This record, it just fills you up orally, and it sounds just so groovy and fun to dance to. And I love the vocal breakdown in the bridge where it just sort of is her voice kind of trilling up and down. It just sounds really haunting and beautiful. And again, I think the theme of it, I feel stuck on a loop. I want to get out of this relationship. I just think it's a sort of fun little end of a relationship breaking down kind of song. The song is repetitive, obviously, to sort of mirror that. But then again, most pop songs are repetitive. I didn't really see a lot of the hate that some people were giving to this song because I really feel like it's actually one of the times where the deep house electronic sounds work in her favor, because then we get to songs where it really doesn't work so well. A song like Power, I do love the empowerment to it. I do love the lyrics, but I really do not like the production on this song at all. It was one of those songs that I was like, I don't need to listen to this ever again. It's a real shame because this song and the next song are definitely my two least favorite on the album. But I do think lyrically this song is very strong. You know, she's singing about, you know, you can't clip my wings, you can't wilt my flowers, stole my time, but I'll make up the hours because I'm a goddess and you know it. A lot of people thought the song was actually going to be titled Goddess. Some respect, you better show it. I'm done with you siphoning my power. Anyone who's felt like degraded in a relationship or, you know, felt lesser than or just not wasn't being treated properly will relate to this. And it's definitely important and it falls under the umbrella of purposeful pop. It's just I wish the production was better and I wish it had a better melody. Oh well. The next song though, Mind Maze, lyrically and sonically this song fails for me. I really do not like this song. And it really hurts because it's a Purity Ring song. You can definitely hear Purity Ring behind it, but when she sings the chorus and sings It's a Mind Maze and you hear how digitally altered her voice is, I remember I just like cringed so hard. I was like, Katy, what are you doing? Like, no. Your voice is unique and distinct, and I hate that you're carrying a chorus with this sort of digital manipulation. It's fine in tiny little bits here and there, but her voice, part of the things I love about Deja Vu and other songs is she strips back all that stuff sometimes, and like she sings, you know, in Deja Vu, and every day's the same definition of insane. The way she sings insane, you hear that classic Katy Perry voice. It's like dramatic and broad. You can hear her sound, and it sounds really fresh and good. But when she goes like so altered in these other songs, you really kind of lose any sort of connection with it whatsoever. And then it's not also catchy, which doesn't help it to begin with. To me, it's just kind of chaotic and all over the place. It's unfortunate. I really was expecting more from it. Miss You More kind of picks things back up again. I do like that, again, her voice is unencumbered more, so you can actually hear it come through. This is actually a song, there's like somebody I know in my life, I would dedicate this song to them because I was in a relationship with someone where, to be completely honest, I miss them more than I loved them. And I totally agree with that sentiment. Now that that person's gone, I actually really do find myself thinking about them a lot. But I kind of feel like if I was back in a relationship with them, I actually wouldn't be that attached ultimately. It's just there was something about them that they're so sentimental. There was something there that makes you kind of miss them obsessively. And so I really dig the message and vibe of this song. It's very timely for my life. I love the line where she talks about a balloon, like, did they let go or did they lose it? You know, like, what did I let go or did I lose this person? I kind of feel like I like lost them because I sort of stopped trying so hard and I sort of like opened that up, that possibility. But then I like have to keep thinking back in my head, like, did I let go or did I lose? Oh, who was the one who let go of the balloon? Anyway, I actually really find it, although it's kind of simple, the melody's not that strong. It's kind of forgettable in that department. It definitely at least sounds a little bit more like authentic because her voice is unencumbered. And I definitely like the you know, theme of the song in terms of a relationship, looking back on it and reflecting and thinking what could have been, but kind of remarking on the fact that, you know what, actually it's probably for the best. I just can't help but feel this way. Okay, so the lead single, Chained to the Rhythm. I really like this song. I think it's one of the strongest songs on the album, if not the strongest. Again, it's unpopular opinion. A lot of people did not like this song, and they were like, why is it even on the album? It's so bad. Like, it didn't perform very well. A lot of people consider this song to be a flop when it came out in February with the music video. This is what this album was supposed to be about. I wish the album centered around this song better, because now this song feels a little bit left field because of its empowerment, sort of social justice sort of message. I will admit that, you know, Katy Perry, because of her sort of strange approach to writing relatable stuff, it has some stranger lyrics. I mean, the idea of being chained to the rhythm as a sort of metaphor to us being chained to our habits and, you know, like the old way of like viewing things and like government and all of these things, like being sheep who won't like awaken, like, and look at and see the forest for the trees. I understand that, but it's like all these strange metaphors that she puts into it. The music video is really interesting because it's like this theme park. It's like the theme park for sheep. Everyone goes on the ride. They love the ride, but they're not like paying much attention to what's going on around them. They're just sort of like lining up and going on them and giving them their money and just, I love the Great American Dream drop where people go up in these houses and then like, oh, there's the financial crisis, and they plummet right back down. There's some really clever sort of metaphors for sort of status quo of society and capitalism that I think the American dream kind of brainwashes people to think, oh, everything's okay. When we look at this election, suddenly what just happened? And so there's that moment where, Skip Marley, who's featured on the song, which I actually think is a really nice feature. Again, like Nicki Minaj, it's a good feature. She suddenly feels like a calling to wake up and be like, what am I doing here? Time is now to overcome and defeat the empire. There's that call to arms kind of feeling. Anyway, the song is undeniably catchy. It has a little bit of a throwback 70s sound backing it, and it just feels good. And I love the catchiness of it. I don't understand why it didn't do so well. I think some people might have hated the politicized nature of it, and some people, of course, would boycott it because of that. Even though it's not explicitly political, you can definitely hear the political undertones. And obviously, Katy Perry, she was very politically invested in Hillary Clinton. And I can understand that, when she created this song right afterwards, it was like this was her response to it. Dance to the distortion. It's like a little bit bizarre, but it kind of works. I don't know. It's like an odd fitting shoe. You wouldn't expect it to work, but it does. And I don't fault Katy for some of the strange lyrics that maybe feel a little cheesy. I think, it's a pop song, so like how deep do I really want the lyrics to be? It's Katy Perry. I don't fault her for that kind of stuff. Tsunami is another song that I'm kind of on. It's basically a song about sex. She's alluding to a tsunami being like the whirl and rush of sex. She wants to dive right in. Again, what makes me not really fall in love so much with the song is just the lack of melody and catchiness. It's very electronic and just all over the place. That beat in the background just does not do much for me. So, although I like her vocal delivery on some of it and the chorus, it just does feel like mismatched and like kind of rushed, like it was put together way too quickly and like not enough time was spent thinking about how to make this song better. It feels like a rough draft for something. Bon appetit. Okay, so I gotta be honest. I can see why people hate on this song. This song didn't do so well in any critic's opinions or the general public's opinion. But I gotta be honest, a part of me, it's a guilty pleasure song. It's a song that I'll grudgingly admit I find actually really sexy and appealing. I find it really fun to listen to. It's so catchy. I remember when she previewed it on her Instagram and I was just like, oh, this sounds so good. I just want to dance to it. Her voice is so bouncy and light and airy, and this song has that feel to it. And it's a very sex-driven song. Again, the meaning that she was going with Change of the Rhythm is completely lost at this point. I mean, the music video is so ridiculously over the top with the sex stuff. I mean, she's basically serving her body naked and being like kneaded like dough and being boiled in hot water and being prepared in the kitchen. And then she's served on a plate. And then then she suddenly surprises everyone and takes everyone's money. She's at a strip club. Like, oh, the message is all over the place. What kind of empowerment message could have been there under the surface is just completely drowned out by all the sexual innuendo that's just placed in all the imagery and the sounds. It's kind of cute, though. The Migos feature, though, falls flat. And I also don't like Migos. I'm just going to straight up flat out say it. I don't like them, and I hate that this is like a song of theirs that I kind of listen to, that they were a part of, because it's like, but their feature's definitely not so strong in my opinion. Then we come to Bigger Than Me. This is one of those songs, like the title Bigger Than Me. I feel like this song acts like it's bigger than what it is. This song had so much potential to be a really big power ballad, a really big reflecting power ballad about this election, about society as we are right now. When I heard that this song was dedicated to Hillary Clinton, I was like, gosh, I'm really excited to hear how this is going to sound. This is another Purity Ring and produced track. It's okay. It's not horrible in terms of the production. But you can hear that vocal distortion when she says, I can feel it happening in the background. You do feel a little bit of goosebumps as you kind of feel this build, and she's singing about something sort of bigger than her, something spiritual that's happening, people awakening, people seeing the world for what it is now. I get that feeling from it. But then the chorus, their voice, it just feels too contrived, and I wish it could have been a little bit more, maybe a little bit more stripped back and maybe a little bit more on the ballad side, like By the Grace of God, or just went even more bombastic. So I'm a little torn on this song. I definitely don't hate it though. I definitely appreciate the message behind it. It's such an awake and aware song, but at the same time, it's a little cheesy. And that's a little bit unfortunate because I really wanted this album to like really make you think about society more. But this kind of contrived notion of like, oh, I think something's happening. It's like, well, what's happening? Do you want to elaborate on this at all? Do you want to actually provide like some more interesting lyricism to dive into? Because it's not there. It's sort of like the lyricism of, I know I'm just a piece of sand, I'm just one grain, or I want to create waves. This is not new territory. I kind of wish this song went into a little bit more unfamiliar territory, which so many of the other songs at least do. They are experimental. This song isn't experimental enough. But it's not bad. I'm not dissing this song altogether. Trust me. Save This Draft is the one really one of the two really emotional songs. I really appreciate the levity that this song brings because I was really hoping that she would do another sort of more mature ballad song. I think at the message of, saving as drafts, the text, at first I was like, what does that mean? And then I was like, oh, I understand. But it's oddly specific in weird times. Like when she sings, sometimes I swear I pass your SUV on Sunset Boulevard. That doesn't sound sexy or something you put in a song. And it's not like she's used, it's not like the whole album is meant to be like strange anecdotal kind of raw lyrics like that. It feels weird and out of place. Because then the rest of the lyrics are very vague, like I struggle, I repeat, what good will it do to reopen the wound? So I take a deep breath and I save this draft. She's unsure where to go with this relationship because it's really on the rocks now. It's not what it used to be, but she keeps wanting to break away and really change things up and like maybe break up, but she keeps holding off on it because she doesn't like change. And she still feels something for him at the end of the day. We all can feel like a bit in that tight, kind of stuck position. So I appreciate this sort of emotional sentiment of feeling stuck in the relationship. But the lyrics are like way too specific and then way too vague. And that just feels like a strange dichotomy. The next song, Pendulum, is another really big asterisk song for me. I love this song. This is a gospel tinge song that is just a fun, feel good. It's a bit of a social commentary song. She talks about the pendulum of change swinging back and forth. Life is a pendulum. To be honest, our political system's definitely been a pendulum. Things swing in the good direction and then they swing back. History always acts like that. And so this song falls a little bit more into the genre of purposeful pop, which really got me interested in the album again. I think towards the end of this album, it's really needed because it sort of reminds us what this album's about in the first place. It's catchy, it's fun, it sounds like something that could have been on the album Prism, which I really like, and I love the album Prism. I will review that album. I think it's Katy Perry's best album. It's better than Teenage Dream in my opinion. Just for me personally, because Teenage Dream was a little too cliched. This song just it ticks all the right boxes. I love the way that she's not afraid to embrace her sort of more gospel soulful roots in this song. Because remember, Katy Perry started out as a Christian soulful singer, and now she's sort of hearkening back to that, but also making it a fun, dancey song with a nice groove and beat to it that's a little old school. It's all the things I wanted from this album. It has its own unique character, its own unique sound. It doesn't sound like anything else on the album. That's why it feels like it doesn't really belong on it. But it does have that purposeful pop. It hits that category. I just wish more songs did. Then we have the last song, Into Me You See, which does close out the album beautifully on a very emotional, most emotional song on this album, which kind of ties back the theme of finding someone who actually sees me for who I am, who really witnesses me, and I can witness them back. So I do appreciate, there's not a lot of cohesion on this album, but I do appreciate the fact that she ends the album with a song called Into Me You See. She's tying things back into that idea of sight or inner sight, which could be a little cheesy. It depends on how you carry it across. She skirts with that on a lot of stuff, but then again, Katy Perry has always been a bit borderline cheesy, but it's okay because she's Katy Perry. So I don't know. I'm interested to hear what you guys think in this of this review and of the album. I definitely feel like it's underrated in some areas and then overrated in others. Though I can sense that a lot of people consider this to be her worst album. I don't know. I've reserved judgment on that. I just definitely don't think as a body of work it works very well. I appreciate the experimentation though. I like that she's trying to sound different. I don't want necessarily Katy Perry to make Teenage Dream over and over again. That wouldn't show progression as an artist. And again, I don't have a problem with her image change. I don't know why people are making such a big deal out of it. She is a little bit more, confident now than she used to be, but I don't see her being quite like Miley Cyrus was. And I think that, this album does kind of have issues with where it sort of stands as a pop album and in pop consciousness. I mean, it doesn't have as many radio singles as you would expect because there's not as many conventional songs. I appreciate that on the one hand, but on the other hand, Katy Perry was so good with that conventional stuff. All of those things. So I'd be curious to know what you think. I'm just lukewarm about it. Highlight songs, not so highlight songs. It is what it is. But the concept is interesting. So I hope that you enjoyed this review. I will definitely review Prism and maybe even more Katy Perry stuff. Stay tuned for more reviews. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.